What's up, students? Welcome back to the podcast as we're diving into a brand new series this month around At the Movies, where my friends Grace and Colin and me are going to be talking about different movie genres and the themes that we can pull out of that and how they relate back to our faith. So without further ado, here's week 1, animated movies. Good? All right, cool. Well, welcome to the podcast, you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys here. So in case people don't already know you, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, your names. Let's see, what else do we want to know? We want to know what campus you're from, what grade you're in, and also what high school you represent as well, too.
All right. So my name's Colin. I go to the Berks campus. I'm going into my senior year at Conrad Weiser High School.
Nice. All right.
My name is Grace. I attend the Ephrata campus, and I am a new Manheim Township alumni. I just
Whoa.
graduated. Yeah, so.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does that feel weird to say alumni?
It's really odd. I feel old, but also, like, I forget I'm graduated sometimes. I'm like, oh, no, I'm a senior.
Yeah.
Like, I just keep saying that over and over
Totally.
again.
And so where are you going to college then, Grace?
I'm going to Liberty University.
Nice, right on. Well, guys, thanks for joining us over the next couple of weeks here as we're diving into our At the Movie series, talking about some different movie genres and stuff. But, you know, in honor of movies, we should definitely have some movie candy as well. So we have some delicious M&Ms there. Colin, these are your favorite candy, right?
They are.
So which ones should I try then? Because are you particular on the M&M flavor or?
I mean, I always just go for the straight classic M&Ms.
Yeah.
But
That's boring.
I also really like the caramel ones.
Okay. So I can't think if I've ever had the caramel one. So I think I'm going to
You
go
gotta
ahead and
try
try
'em.
those two. All right. So you guys got to try them. I definitely am not a fan of the peanut ones, though.
I was
Or-
about to say
yeah.
the peanut are the best ones
All right.
by, like, a long shot.
So the control here.
The control.
Control.
This is actually a science experiment now.
Totally. All right. Straight classic. Nothing wrong with this at all.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong with it. Now let me see what the caramel does for me here. Let's see. Okay.
They look
might
like
change your
peanut
life.
M&Ms.
It might.
It might.
Hopefully the camera gets this. Can you see the size difference here? I'm already a
It's
fan.
like a gumball.
It's kind of like a gumball, actually. But like just for the pure like enjoyment value, like I will get more out of
That's
this
true.
one than
true.
one of those. So hold up a minute.
Are you a life
That's
change?
I'm telling you.
that's
I'm
it right
telling you.
there, dude.
Yeah.
Yo, wait, you guys gotta try that
I'm
one.
just still ashamed that you said peanut M&Ms are by far the worst ones. Those are
They're
like
n-
100% the best
You should
ones.
try this one now,
Yeah.
man. This is
Have
really
you tried 'em?
good.
You got to try them.
No, because I'm not particular on caramel, like, in candy. I feel like it's too sweet.
Doesn't matter.
No,
gotta
you
try
can't
it.
tell. Like, I can't. I wouldn't say that this is any sweeter than any normal M&M I've had, but the caramel adds like a chewy flavor that I really, really like with it.
It's a whole new element.
It's good. What's that face
I don't
for?
really like it.
Oh, come
You
on.
don't. Come on, Grace.
It has no flavor. It just tastes chewy.
What do you mean?
It literally tastes like nothing.
It tastes like an M&M with caramel in it.
I got to have some.
No.
Go
need
for it.
peanut.
All right. So while we're diving into all the M&Ms we got here, for this first week, I love to talk about animated movies as our first movie genre. So this might be a hot topic to start off all this with. But do you guys have what ranks in your mind as the best animated movie of all time?
I feel like there's different categories.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I
Okay.
have, like, Disney.
Yeah.
Like, I have, like, the classic Disney, and then I have, like, newer Disney, and then I have, like, other.
Okay.
I feel like the one I would watch repeatedly over and over again is either the original Beauty and the Beast
Yeah.
or to toss up between, like, the princess ones. I'm trying to think. Like, I feel like Brave, I watch a ton.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's an underrated movie.
I was gonna say I think that's an overrated movie, but
Are you kidding me?
totally.
I
I'm
never
sorry.
hear anybody talk about it.
That's the same thing that I'm saying too. I've never heard anybody talk about it either. So it's like
good.
it's
the
not like
storyline
as much.
is amazing.
All right. Maybe I gotta give Brave another try then. Though I'll give Brave another try.
I mean, I also love Inside Out. It's just
Yes.
so,
That's a good one.
It's a good one
Yes.
for a reason. Like,
Yeah.
it's popular for a reason.
Totally. Yeah. It does a really good job with like the like emotions and
Yeah.
like even like mental health side of it. I think it's really
I'm
cool.
like just partial to like Disney animated movies.
Totally.
Always.
totally.
They're best.
Colin, you have any thoughts?
I think I got to go with Cars.
Hey, see,
That's
dude.
a solid choice.
He introduces me to caramel M&Ms. He agrees with me with Cars. I think Cars is up there for sure.
Yeah,
like
for
Cars
sure.
is a fantastic, but only like Cars 1 by itself, I think, could have just been its own standalone.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine. Like, I don't dislike Cars 2 or 3, but like Cars 1 is unfairly better to against those movies that like they just look bad in comparison compared to the greatness that Cars 1 was. Any other ones come out to mind or stick out for you?
I don't know. I haven't really watched all that many movies, but yeah.
This is gonna be great for the conversation. Then I'm glad you're gonna help us with the conversation then with all the movies we're gonna be talking about. It's great. It's why we're talking about themes and not particular movies. You got it, bro. I was gonna say for me, I would throw Cars up there. But you know, one other one that I've thought about recently is actually Despicable Me. Like how Despicable Me
that's so good.
has but not even just from I love the first one. I think the first one is like truly a classic, but I was just thinking about because the new Super Mario Bros. Movie has recently come out, right? And they were saying like that is the highest grossing animated film of all time now, or something like that. And I was like, Illumination has existed for maybe like a fourth of the time as a company as Disney has,
true.
and they have a huge repertoire of incredible animated films then too. So but I was thinking back to us I think the first one that really started it all was Despicable Me. So you gotta give that movie some props because truly that really did
the Minions movie, the amount of press that movie got was kind of insane.
Yeah. Oh, for real.
It was so funny.
Yeah. But you know what's cool about these different movies that we're talking about, whether it be Brave or Cars or Despicable Me, right? I think what's cool about it is that a lot of the time in these movies we see characters that are developing themselves throughout the film. Whether they're, Lightning McQueen and they're learning how to be just really a better person than to the people around them, or Brave to what does it mean to be true to who I am and all these other things then too that, again, we just see throughout these characters grew oh man, maybe I should actually try being a good guy. I'm not a good villain, but hey, I could be a really good guy too, right? Yeah. So, we see this theme kind of play out a lot through, these different movies then as well. So I'm curious to hear from you guys. How have you seen yourself grow over the past couple years? You guys are both, near the end, already at the end of your high school journeys into. How have y'all seen yourself grow as leaders, as people, just throughout the last couple of years then?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, when I started high school, I was serving in Kidman a lot, which is, I love serving in Kidman. And I decided to move up to Student Man, and I originally thought that, I wouldn't, be a good fit. I just thought that I was, too young, especially because I think I started when I, just turned 16 as a leader.
Yeah.
So it was just, a really weird time, and I didn't, think that I was no fifth grade girl is going to want to hear what I have to say, or they're, not going to want to, hear from me.
Yeah.
But now being 2-3 years later and knowing that they actually look up to me and they look up to me as an older sister and a leader, just realizing that I've grown as a leader in that way, but also in other aspects of my life, in school especially. I used to be really quiet and not really talk to anybody, but now I was on the board for my entire theater department. So
that's awesome.
Growing in that aspect of it, of knowing that I can accomplish all these things, it's given me more strength to keep going.
Yeah, totally. Colin?
Yeah. So throughout middle school, I, like Grace, served in Kidman too. But I recently made the jump up to serving in Collide. And
Sweet.
It's cool to see kids that are closer in age to me.
Yeah.
Still look up to me and listen to me and look for my advice. But throughout high school, starting off high school, I was definitely a little more timid and wasn't quite confident in my leadership skills. But I definitely have grown throughout high school, and I see myself becoming a better leader as each year goes on.
Totally. And I love that both of y'all within that story too, Collide's played a part of that too, right?
Yeah.
Which is super cool because I think sometimes and I'm saying this as someone who was in y'all's shoes then too, right? Before, when I was in HSM and stuff, I jumped right into Collide as fast as I could because that's really what I wanted to do. That's the reason why I'm here now. But what's cool about that is truly there is the opportunity to do that, which is really cool. And I'm sure for y'all, part of that came as a part of your experience with the church and with student ministry and also just in faith in general.
Yeah.
But really, how did your faith play a role in that leadership development over the past couple of years then as well?
I think it just gave me more security that God always has a plan, no matter like, I may not like the plan. Majority of the time, we may not. And knowing that he still has my best interest at heart, but he also, like, I know it's not going to be easy, and he knows it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
But knowing that he would only ever have my best interest in that, even if it's, like, changing is scary, like, going on to a next thing, like, even, like, going into, like, college next year, like, that's terrifying. Yeah. Like, I'm going to be 5 hours away. Yeah. Like, that's
It's
scary.
a big jump, man.
Yeah.
It's
like,
a really big jump.
It's just a little baby jump. You know, it's fine. But knowing that God will always be with me along every step of the way is so comforting to know. Like, even though my family will be, like, 5 hours away, he's, like, right next to me the whole time.
Totally. Colin, you had anything else you want to throw in with that?
I think for me, like, my faith kind of pushed me into opportunities for leadership that I wouldn't have had otherwise. Like, whether it was wildfire, like serving on the work crew and stuff like that. And those experiences kind of helped me to, like, really hone in on what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And then just knowing that God is with me and, like, he put me there for a purpose is kind of like a good clarification that, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing almost.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's funny too, because it's like, I was actually going to say, like, in my own story, like, I almost think it's the opposite in a way, where it's like I was giving me the opportunity to see things that, or giving me the opportunity to do things that I didn't think I was going to be able to do, right? Like, y'all are talking about, like, the first time that you were serving in Collide, or, like, you know, whatever that shift was too. Like, for me, I remember that season really, really well, and being like, man, I mean, I'm only maybe like 5 years older than the fifth graders that I'm leading. Like,
they love to remind you that.
Oh, they absolutely do. And even now, like, as staff, I'm, 22 going on 23, right? I mean, like, our current seniors, right? Y'all are only like 4 or 5 years younger than me now too, right? So there's that ability of, like, I mean, I never thought that, like, if you would have asked, 5th or 6th grade age Joel, like, oh, like, the more you develop in your faith, like, there'll be these opportunities that can be that will be presented for you to, continue to, like, just pour into the church or whatever. But it's super cool. Like, and truly, like, all that comes from the fact, I mean, in my mind, at least, that, like, hey, like, God's been a part of that the entire way, and it's given me they're surrounding me with the right people that are encouraging me with that help me grow in that. And also just, like, did that within me personally then as well too. So, cause truly, like, we can't take, we can't take any credit for, like, a lot of that too. We can put in the work for it, but ultimately, like, that's Jesus, like, working in our lives then too, I think. But that's really cool. Yeah. So, you guys were even saying that too. So you guys are both still serving in Collide then, right? So this is there. What's your favorite thing about it?
I don't know. So there's a lot of things I love about it. A lot of the fact is that I love the group of girls that I have. Yeah. They just moved up to 7th graders, which is weird because, like, I had them, like, right when they, like, started in 5th grade. Yeah. But I love them. They used to all not talk to me. They used to just, like, stare at me every week. Now they love me and they don't ever are quiet, and I love it. They laugh at
go back.
They laugh at all my jokes, which I love because I, for one, again, think I'm hilarious. So I love when other people think that as well.
Sure.
But I also love that they have such, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, their faith is at such an amazing point right now that they rely on others and each other a lot. Like, they rely on their group members a lot. And, like, I'm at the point now where I've had some of my girls that now are actually at the point where I let them lead groups sometimes because I can see I can see myself as, like, wanting to, like, lead people and, like, lead other people to God, like, at their point right now. Yeah. And I want to, like, pour into that at this given moment because, like, I have one girl named Emily and I love her so much. And she is amazing. I love her. She leads every week. I give her a guide, but she, like,
but you know what's cool about that though, Grace? It's like someone, I'm presuming, did that for you, like, along the way too, right? And what's cool about that is, like, you're saying, like, man, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this, or, like, you're wrestling with that bit, but, like, you're able to give that back to someone else then too, which is really cool.
I want to give her the confidence that I wish I would have had in myself while she's still young. Yeah. Because I think if I could have had that confidence, I would have had, like, a much easier time throughout high school. Totally. And so I want to give her the confidence now that she's in middle school, so she's able to, like, grow even more, like, past that I know or, like, she knows. Yeah, for sure. Colin, any thoughts?
Yeah, so I haven't been there all that long, been serving in Collide all that long, but and I definitely haven't seen like the kids grow like as much Grace has. But even in the short time that I have been there, to be able to see like some certain kids like just grow and like become like better in their faith, like just in the couple of months or weeks that I've been there, it's really like amazing to see like that what we're doing is changing the way that they see God and see their faith.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually pulled out a verse here from Luke that was just interesting to me as we thought about this idea of like how are we personally like developing, as leaders, and again, just kind of within that theme there. Then Luke 12:48 says, "When someone has been given much, much will be required in return, and when someone has been entrusted with much, even more will be required." Now, I don't know what you guys think when you hear that verse, but personally for me, that's like kind of convicting, and also like there's like some weight behind that as well too. And I think especially when we think about like the way how we're developing our leadership. A lot of the times, like we need to just get, be honest with ourselves about like, hey, where are we doing like really well at, what we've struggled at in the past, or like how are we continuing to get better from those things. So I think we kind of hit at it a little bit too, just kind of in passing in other questions, but really, where have you guys struggled in your leadership? Like whether that be in Collide or, and the journey to that, maybe even, like where have you guys like struggled to see yourself as a leader or struggled in your leadership? Something along those lines there.
Yeah, I think for a while of it was because I was at one point, especially in like 9th and 10th grade, because I hosted an HSM, I was leading people that were like 3 to 4 years older than me, which was weird. And so I didn't feel like I was like adequate to do it at all. Like, because it's weird to lead people that are older than you.
Yeah,
like
it is.
It's a weird concept, or even the people that are the same age as you, like people that are in my grade.
Yeah, because you even hosted an HSM for us then for a while too.
From 10th to 12th grade, I hosted most Wednesdays. Yeah, which was weird.
Because you're doing that in front of 11th and 12th graders.
Like
and 10th
I was
grader.
doing it of people that were older than me, like the seniors, and I'm like, this is scary. I don't like this. But like, that was a really hard time because. It was also weird because I was like, oh, I'm leading people that are my age, but I'm also a student. So like trying to find a healthy balance of like knowing that I can still pour into people, but also like making myself available for people to still like pour into me.
Yeah. Has there ever been like, maybe it's kind of a tag on to the other question too, but have you all ever had any hard lessons in leadership? And this one doesn't just have to be from church and too, but like any like, dude, like that was a really bad day. Like, but I learned a lot from it, but like I learned it the hard way. I can share one quick. That way y'all don't have to feel like you have to, divulge it right away. So back when I was in college, I actually interned at our York campus in student ministry. And at the time, me and my family were actually living right outside Lancaster City. And which meant that my commute on Sundays was about 50 minutes. So I remember waking up one morning, we had this awesome game plan set out for Collide. I was stoked for it. I can't wait to get there. I roll over in bed, and it was like 8:30. Oh, I'm like, if I left right now, I'm 20 minutes late. Oh no. So like just, that instant panic, like, oh, I'm going to be late for work, right? So like, I'm just like rushing to get there, to get back on time. So anyway, long story short, it wasn't a great day then, obviously, because it was like, oh my word, I let like a bunch of people, I felt like at least I let a bunch of people down. But the great lesson that I learned out of that, especially, now coming on to staff, was like, dude, like if something happens and you sleep in overnight, like who's gonna take Collide? You know what I mean? Like is like Grace, you're at our campus and you're in Collide. So I'll use you as an example. Like, can Grace, take the gathering if like me and Ashley just like disappear off the face of the planet for like 30 minutes? And that kind of thing too. And it's like, oh man, that's a really good leadership lesson actually. But obviously learned in a not so fun way there then too. But so anything like that you guys have experienced?
The one thing I can think of is this one time, I think it was in middle school. I had a group project, and it was me and one other kid, and we were working on it, and then I realized that he was going on vacation for the next week. Yeah. And this was like a pretty big project, and so I had to finish the project myself. Oh. And so I think what that taught me was just kind of like establishing a game plan before you get to that point, like figuring out what everyone's task is and how you're going to finish it before you even start, rather than just jumping in and then realizing that, oh shoot, now I have to finish this entire project by myself. Yeah,
because getting to that end goal doesn't just happen haphazardly, right? Like it requires some intentionality, whether that's like within ourselves or like within a group project then too, right? Like being intentional with that. Is that why I'm, totally.
Yeah, like leadership requires like delegation of tasks. And I feel like that's almost the hardest part about leadership because especially for me, sometimes I just want to do it all myself. Like, it's just easier than delegating.
I was going to say, cause he's saying that you're trying to not do that. I'm like, my problem is I would try to do that.
Yeah.
Oh no, I am a group like project, like control freak. It's really bad. Like I have done so many projects just by myself. I'm like, I'll just do everything. You just show up.
Yeah. So what's cool about that too, in especially as we just as we close out conversation here, what I think is really special is like we are even hearing from like kind of our collective story in that too, of like there were people who poured into us. You know, we learned some hard leadership lessons around the way as we continue to grow throughout our time in HSM and Student Men or whatever. And we continue to get better and better in our leadership. We developed as people through that. And what I think is interesting is too, it's like, I think sometimes students don't realize the potential that they do have to experience that then too. So what would be like y'all's advice or like man, like if, you know, you're at HSM or whatever, and like, man, like I really want to keep getting better, but I don't know if I can, or maybe even it's like, man, I'm not even thinking in that world that I can like grow my leadership or develop as a person in other ways. Like, what would y'all say to, an HSM student who's kind of thinking that or wrestling with that?
Say yes to a lot, but don't say yes to too much to the point that you overstretch yourself. Because sometimes I know that I wanted to say yes to everything because I wanted to grow, but being intentional with the things you say yes to. Yeah. But also finding a mentor that can guide you along the way. Like, for instance, like my life group leaders, Stacy and Jen, they like helped me make some of the most like important decisions I've made in my life.
Totally.
Like literally where to go to college.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a lot of money and a lot of time and energy and investment.
Don't be afraid to lean onto others as a leader.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to like do that all by yourself. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, just keep an open mind. Like, even when some things might seem scary or, like, you're not sure if you're up for the challenge, like, the worst you can do is try it. And if it doesn't work out or if it's not your thing, then you don't have to do it again. But you won't know unless you try it. So just keep your mind open and just try and do as much to get the experience. Yeah, totally. Well, guys, what's cool about those pieces of advice you just gave too is y'all are representations of that too, right? Like y'all stepped up and said yes, and you kept an open mind to where, you know, God was leading you, and through your faith, you know, you're able to kind of see that leadership develop over your time then too. So what's super cool about that, and what I love about that as we wrap up here, is like y'all are, again, just testaments to that, and that's super cool to see. So just keep investing into the students that you guys still connect with and hang out with and stuff, and we'll keep challenging more and more of them to jump in like that, to see that impact that's so evident even in y'all stories didn't too. All right, good stuff, y'all. Well, hey, I'll see you guys next week then for the next movie genre. I'm excited about it. It's a really good one. Cool. We'll see you guys then.